Hi Virgo, welcome to your reading. This is the part 2 of the reading. Part 1 was where I gave an overview of the new moon that has just happened and how that is linked to the 2022 Jupiter Neptune cycle, and hence the sort of a preview of 2022 that we are seeing right now for all of us. So, for you specifically, Virgo, there might be a new connection, a new contract, a new partnership that might be beginning right now, a new agreement, a new commitment to somebody, which might be beginning right now, which is supposed to grow in its scale and its impact over the course of next year, especially during 2022. It might take some time for that partnership or that agreement to fully reveal itself. It might be just a seed that you're planting right now. There might be some modifications, some changes, some blind spots that need to come out in the open, and they're expected possibly to come out in open after June, when Neptune will go retrograde and we see things more clearly as compared to right now. This is the month when Neptune, which is a planet of fog, is very, very prevalent, which helps us take certain risks, take certain leaps that we have not taken before. It sort of helps us go beyond our limitations. It gives us some amount of faith in our future, because of which we take bold steps. And Mars and North Node are going to come together in your house of career on 26th of March, which sort of is a daredevil aspect. It helps us break free from any limitations to do the things that we haven't done before. So there might be a bold move that you might be making when it comes to a contract, a relationship, a partnership, a commitment to something long term. But be aware that the nature of that contract, especially the terms of that contract, will go through some amount of changes as you realize certain blind spots that you might be missing out right now, because this is the time of hope, it's the time of change, it's the time of sort of fantasy, it's a time of optimism, it's a time of dreams, it's a time of high hopes, it's a time of unrealistic expectations as well. To some extent, it doesn't mean that it's not right for you, but there might be certain aspects that we may not be seeing right now. It's a very good time to negotiate, to have diplomacy, to share a vision with somebody, to focus on a partner, to begin a new partnership, to begin a new client relationship, or redefine an existing commitment or contract with somebody. It's a time to sort of rely on others, lean on others, associate with others. It's a time to work on relationships that are mutually supportive in nature. It's just time to sort of, being in a relationship which is soulful in nature, making some soul contracts with people. But you have to be going into this with the knowing that some of it will be selfless. You have Neptune in your house of relationships since 2012, so you have learned this over time, I believe, and because of where we are in the cycle, it's been going on since 2012, that relationships and partnerships require a lot out of you without conditions, without possibly even return in the way that you want. And the way we relate to others, our one-on-one relationships, they have changed quite a lot in that process work over the course of the last couple of years, starting from 2012. The reason Virgo is normally of this kind of, and we have discussed this before, we have said this before, the reason to for of this delusionment, sometimes some of the delusion, some of the disappointments in relationships and partnerships, finding people who are irresponsible in nature or who take advantage of you in some ways, is to change the way we connect with others, not making us hardened towards others, not making us feel jaded in relationships or partnerships, but with this period of back and forth, learning more about ourselves in that process, stripping away our own boundaries in some ways, learning to take relationships in a little bit more lighter fashion, even to some extent. And over time, as we proceed forward, attracting a soulmate after delusions, after addictive partners, after partners who give mixed signals in some ways or might feel like they're using you in some ways. After some time, it sort of gets you to that process. Um, we can we might have idealized somebody in the past, and that might have led us to the wrong road. But the road is wrong only if it didn't add anything to you, right? So in that process, we become very different. Neptune works on dissolving our old patterns in relationships. It makes us more open to new partners. And the place you have reached now, Neptune is also the highest octave of love, the selfless love, where we sort of merge with others irrespective of how they are, without the expectations from others. We give love because we are love, because we love from a place of just wanting to give love. And we find people who we want this love to freely flow to. It doesn't mean accepting people who would use you. It's a intuition in relationships that's developed over time, where we realize who is worthy of letting the selfless love move to or not. Relationship matters might have been confusing in the past. And all of that skill set that you have sort of developed over the last couple of years, it's like an intuition and giving nature that you, Virgo, as a big heart sign have. That all will come into play in creating this gains from partnerships that are coming your way. Because Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is coming in your house of partnership in 2022. You will see a preview of that from mid of May to end of July, when it will dip very little, only for 2 months, and then fully it will come back in 2022. But you are seeding something right now which Jupiter is supposed to expand and give you gains from. Wherever Jupiter is, things become easier, things become happier, things become more lucrative. So, Jupiter in our house of partnership in 2022 will bring us partners, business partners, personal partners who bring warmth, who bring generosity, who bring faith, who bring wealth, who bring optimism, who bring expansion of awareness of life, who bring the right kind of partnership for which a lot of these lessons have been. That sort of bring us in a social sphere that we have been craving for. Social communal interactions go up when Jupiter comes here. They become our source of expansion. Foreign influential religious spiritual people become our partners. They become our business partners. They become our partners in growth. Creative people become our partners in growth. And they add to you. This is a very rare, very, very good transit, one of the best transits of Jupiter, I feel, because it expands our happiness when Jupiter is here. It expands our happiness through people. And Neptune sort of is the slippery slope, which over the last couple of years has been giving you some amount of, back and forth in relationships, having high hopes and then high hopes not being met. There has been a lesson in that, in the sense that they've been teaching you how to be in relationships in a different fashion. They've been teaching you to not always rescue others. Look for positivity and potential in others, but not play the savior function. Knowing when other people are drawing negative energy from you. Union based on reciprocity, on acceptance of other person's need. A love that doesn't cling and not swallow a person. People who add to you at a soul level, they're supposed to be your partner. Not deception, not slippery slope. So those things, those lessons learned, those intuition, imbibed, and it's not having Neptune in your house of partnership is not an easy transit. Excuse me. But this is something that has been active since 2012. Having Jupiter and Neptune together in 2022 changes the shape of that transit, adds optimism to it, adds growth to it. And before those multiple options and growth in relationships, and when Jupiter will be there in 2022, you'll find multiple options to connect with people. Jupiter multiplies things, multiple love partners, marriage partners, multiple options to connect with other people, multiple contracts, abundance of contracts and agreements, or ease in contracts and relationships. Especially Jupiter in Pisces is very, very strong, very, very abundant, very positive at a soul level. Before we get there, Neptune is sort of stripping away, freeing you from relationship patterns that has been draining you instead of elevating you. It sort of also changes your path in some ways, and you would have seen since 2012 the way you look at your life path has changed. We want to go for elevated life path. We don't want to walk a normal path. We want to walk a path which leads to something bigger in life, something grander in life. Not grander in abundance, but grander in the impact at a spirit level, at a soul level, that what you're doing should make an impact on the world in some ways. And it it requires you to dissolve old ways of relating to others on a one-on-one basis. It sort of is a partnership which comes through spiritual plane, through higher plane. So when you connect, or the business partners that you want them to jive with you at a different level versus just practical level, because your old patterns and the way you relate to the other people is not at the surface level anymore. You want to really connect with people. Relationship matters need to be met at a higher level, at a higher a, at a higher code of conduct and higher sort of they need to have better ethical standards in some way, the relationships that are happening. So you would hold the relationships and the partnerships that you're seeding right now to those standards. Even the external consultants, etc., that you are employing, you want to be holding them to your standards. You want to be a little bit careful right now if you're starting some commercial contract, because the terms of that contract may not be very clear, especially if it is being signed right now. It's a very idealistic and the right way to think of it, but the details of that contract, the detail of that partnership may not be evident. There are blind spots there possibly right now. We can idealize the contract. We might miss some details. If you're outsourcing something, you're employing somebody, you're getting employed somewhere, you're signing a contract, you want to be a little bit careful, especially around 29th of March if you're doing that. But it's a very good time to connect with people who are creative in your field, who inspire you at a spirit level. It sort of is meant to be. It might feel a little bit comic as well. It might feel that, the path that you're taking, you're guided towards that. And as I said, the right people, they, after this years of sacrifice in that direction, they start coming from you. These are the people who would do things for you because they want to be part of your vision, because they want to be part of your tribe, because they jive with you at a soul level. They connect with you at a very different level. So the selfless love and devotion that you have been giving to others, in some ways that gets reciprocated, and you'll see that expand in 2022 when Jupiter is here, and it becomes amply clear that this is real, that this is expansive, that this is adding to you. These could be people who are sensitive and open to others as well, just like yourself. They could be artistic, they could be musician, they could be people who sort of are, connected with you because of their destiny with you in some ways, and they build things together with you. They start things together that are humanitarian in nature. They start things with you because you want to make a change in the world in some ways. But you want to be careful with hiring people who are not at that frequency, because there are people who would take advantage of your openness as well. They would take advantage of the fact that you do everything in a relationship, that you try to save the other person when it happens. that you try to be everything and everything to the people you connect with, and you give your all. So you want to be a little bit careful with who you are connecting with, who's becoming your partner. And the last couple of years has given you this experience, this intuition as a muscle has been strengthened, which is teaching you who are the right people who should be there, who drains you. Your sensitivity to other people increases. So the people who drain you, you know that they should not be part of your relationship. You're dissolving what is not real in the relationship, so you're free to pursue who you should have in your life, who you should have in your business partnership, who should be your ally, who should be part of your spiritual growth, who should be part of your future growth. So that's happening on the partnership. On 26th of March, we have Mars and North Node coming together in your house of career. This is a very bold day. It would be a day, possibly a day before and after. You'll start feeling it from 21st of March. That's the time maybe a breakthrough is happening in your career, in the way you are with authority figures. You'll take a bold stance when it comes to your leadership style, your career, your authority in the workplace, your reputation. You sort of would want to be recognized as a leader in some ways, and you'll take a leadership step, even in your personal capacity, in your home capacity. This is a very, very bold aspect. It sort of is completely fearless. It's a little bit of a daredevil aspect, which happens once in 19 years in the sign of Gemini. So related to words, related to things that are said, and a lot of those things would be said out of boundaries. You will find that people are going a little bit out of their boundaries and saying things that they're saying right now. You want to be a little bit careful about that. There can be a lot of impulsive recklessness which will be around. Words will have a lot of power when it comes to your career. It's almost like you can act on a project, talk a project, and make it your destiny to some extent. So you want to be careful what you're saying. You want to be careful about what you're signing. You want to be careful about what we are moving forward on, because there is some sort of urgency around it. Use that energy to act on projects that pave your life destiny path. Don't use it to recklessly sign something, or just, you'll find that it's like accelerated action. You would want to act quickly, which is great for getting a lot of things done, getting out of some comfort zone, getting something done which you've not been able to say and do before, and you really needed to say that. It had to be done. It had to be cut off and moved forward from. But at the same time, just be careful. Am I moving too quickly into something that I'm not yet ready for? Just have that check within yourself. Know that the situation that you are in right now, it will go through an iteration after June. When Neptune goes retrograde, there are some elements that you're not seeing right now which might become evident, and that's especially true if you have planets around 23 degree of Virgo, which is around 16th of September born. You're 16th of September born, you want to be a little bit careful on what are you signing, what are you agreeing to. It could be very kosher. It could be something, because Neptune brings blessings from beyond. So it's like, a person you have been looking for, a soul partner you've been looking for. Now you finally have a contract that is idealistic, that is everything you needed. It's like it ticks all the boxes and it has landed in your inbox. Very much possible to happen. But keep your mind open. Pisces is the time in which we stay flexible. Stay flexible at the exact terms. It may not be as what you're thinking, as easy as you're thinking. It may not be all bells and whistles that you're thinking. It might have certain blind spots that you're missing, which will come into open after June, essentially. And when it's the time to take some bold steps. Mars is in your house of career till end of April. It's the time for action. It's the time to be bold. It's the time to break through certain barriers and move forward. But double check things, double check the contracts, double check the conditions, double check that we're not signing something in hurry. Or a Virgo, that's what we do. We check things 2-3 times and be sure of it. We're thorough about things. Remember that, because in the excitement and the heat of the moment, there's possibility to miss things here. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.